Hi, this is Chris Pleasant. I'm a student in Bio 163. And this presentation is Lab 6.2, Bone Anatomy Checklist. We'll be going over 30 bones and I'll identify them on a skeleton. So at this time, I'd like to pan around the room just for protocol, let you know there's nothing around me. At this time, I'd like to go through the checklist. Again, this is Alejandro from an earlier lesson. This is our list of 30 bones that I will identify. First bone, number 1, is humerus. That is the upper arm bone from the shoulder down to the elbow here. Frontal bone is number 2. It is part of the skull, the frontal part of the skull. Here on Alejandro, in the very front part, dome-shaped bone here. Occipital lobe is number 3, or occipital bone rather. And it's a rear portion, it's kind of lower posterior area on Alejandro's head. On the other skull, it's back here, very at the bottom. Temporal bone is next. That is right here where the ear would be. It's a medium bone, kind of just above the ear, comes over to the upper jaw. And Alejandro is here. Oratory canal is right there. The parietal bone is this large bone on top of the skull. It takes up most of the skull. There's a suture down the middle, very top part right up here. You can almost see the suture. Clavicle is number 6. It's this kind of thin, long bone that goes from the middle of the chest out towards each shoulder. There's one on each side. Radius is number 7. That's a lower arm bone. It is the one that is on the thumb side of the lower arm. Ulna is 6, and that is the other small bone in the forearm. It's on the pinky side of the arm. Femur is next. It's the thigh bone, one of the largest bones in the body, right here. Tibia is a lower leg bone that happens to be on the inside or the medial side of the legs, usually the larger of the two lower leg bones. Fibula is the other one, right beside the tibia, the smaller bone is on the outside or lateral portion of the lower leg. Scapula, turn Alejandro around, is this large flat bone. It is pretty much the shoulder. Patella is a small round bone at the knee, also known as the kneecap. Pelvic bone, there's 2, there's one on each side, and they make up the little pelvic girdle or ring here. Mandible is the lower jaw bone. It goes from the temporal bone, includes the lower teeth. Again, temporal bone down around to the other one. It's the only movable bone in the skull. Maxilla is the upper jaw bone. It's fixed in place, holds the upper teeth, kind of between the nose and the upper lip. Sternum is this flat, narrow bone right here, right in square in the middle of the chest. Ribs are these thin bones on either side of the thoracic cavity. There's 12 on each side. Hyoid bone, you can't see right here. It's a floating bone, kind of under the chin. The tongue actually attaches to this bone. C1 through C7 vertebrae, also known as the cervical vertebrae. C1 is at the top at the base of the skull, and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They terminate about the area of the clavicle. T1 through 12 are thoracic vertebrae. You know there are 12 of them because each one connects to 2 ribs. 12 ribs on each side, 12 thoracic vertebrae in the back. L1 through L5 are the lumbar vertebrae. Very large heavy-duty vertebrae at the back, lower back, so everybody gets hurt. Sacrum are a large mass of fused vertebrae I believe there's 5 in here. They're pretty much fused, don't move very much. Right between the, or to connect both sides of the pelvic girdle or both hip bones together posteriorly. The coccyx is a small jut of bone here. It's also fused together vertebrae. They don't move. Nasal bone on Alejandro is right up here. A small bridge of the nose, kind of bone right square in the face. This skull shows it a little better. It's this nasal bone right down the bridge of the nose. Phalanges are finger and toe bones, the ones that you actually can move. They're both phalanges, toes on both sides. You got 10 sets in the fingers, 10 sets in the toes. Carpals are wrist bones, these little cube square bones in the wrist. Metacarpals are hand bones, so these are the bones that would make up the palm or the back of your hand, in between the wrist and the fingers. Tarsals are kind of 4 ankle bones. There's these little bones just in front of your ankle proper to help your foot flex. And metatarsals are the other foot bones. There's 5, kind of the bridge or the top of the foot is where they belong. Thank you very much.